This is Global One Voice Empowerment Network. Join us as we bring together passionate and resilient individuals to share inspiring stories and insights. Our mission is to shape a positive and ethical global community by celebrating education and resilience and forward thinking ideas. Let's unite, inspire, and empower each other to create a brighter future for all. And remember, together we can make a meaningful difference. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. We are excited to have Diamond joining us, someone who brings a wealth of insight into spiritual growth and its transformative power. So, in this episode, we will dive into her personal journey and explore what spiritual growth means to her and how it can influence different areas of our lives. Diamond here will share a personal experience of a time when she experienced profound spiritual growth and talk about the steps she took to get there. She will also offer her thoughts on how practices like meditation, mindfulness, and journaling play a role in nurturing that growth, along with some practical tips on how to integrate this into our daily routine. We'll also touch on how facing challenges and setbacks can actually fuel spiritual development and hear Diamond strategies for navigating tough times while staying connected to our inner growth. So get ready for a meaningful and insightful conversation. So before we continue, Diamond, I would like to give you some time to share about your journey, what really inspires you. Yeah.
It is so good to be here with you and our listeners. Who, who is this Coach Diamond Drip and what does she do?
Yeah.
So I started off as a business and mindset coach in this coaching space, and I really loved helping small business owners, especially women solo entrepreneurs, establish systems in their business and really embrace AI to help them save time, because when you're a solopreneur, there is only one of you and
Yeah.
you still get the same 24 hours in a day. And it was through some personal growth that I was going through and then some business growth that was happening that I actually found the tools that I use in my spiritual growth coaching now, human design and gene keys. And they really helped on the personal side with helping me to see my strengths, helping me to learn how to listen to the voice inside of me over voices outside of me, uh,
Yeah.
friends, family, society. And on the business side, it helped me overcome comparison and getting caught up in the latest trends and getting knocked off the path that I was already going down and making progress in. I just couldn't see the progress as fast as I wanted to. And so now I get to use these tools with my clients to help them uncover their gifts, figure out how they can bring that into their business, into their branding, and really magnetize the people who want to work with them.
Yeah. That's really very important. Yeah. And you're really doing a lot of work, which is good. And so, what does spiritual growth mean to you, and how can it impact various aspects of one's life?
Absolutely. Spiritual. So we all have heard at some point that we are a mind, we're a body, and we're a spirit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found about the spiritual nature is when we say I am, a lot of us are conditioned to think of our physical body, this
Mm.
incarnation. But through many spiritual texts, we learn that the I am actually relates to the spirit, the infinite cosmic being. And so when you do things to help you unearth who that I am is at soul
Yeah.
level, that's what I consider to be spiritual. It's seeing beyond the 3D physical body. It's getting beyond the 4D, the mind and the inner critic that lives there, and
Mm.
really tapping into that core essence, that divine God power, if you will, that is I am.
Yeah, that's really very true because we are more of spiritual than we think life is. Life is really more of spiritual than we just look at the physical. So how can this like impact our various aspects of life? Like when we incorporate the spiritual perspective of it, how can it impact our lives?
Yeah, it can impact you on really in really profound ways, because when you see yourself as more than just this 3D vessel,
Yes.
you're able to get past the limitations of your environment, of the mind, and you're able to really step into that cosmic power. We
Mm.
are truly limitless beings. We
Yeah.
can create with just a thought. Now, a lot of us are creating unconsciously what we don't
Mm.
want, because we're worrying and we're fearful and we're having these repetitive thoughts that create more of what we don't want, and we don't realize
Yeah.
that we're doing it. But when you're able to use spiritual growth in a way every day to actually help you see beyond those limitations, you start to attract more of what you do want. You start to, as some spiritual leaders will say, align with the vibration of abundance,
Yes.
really start to attract more of what you do want to create in your life when you reach that level of awareness.
Mm-hmm. And I can say, like, let me say on my personal journey, what I can say is that, like, when you really embrace that spiritual being, you know that, like, there is somebody, there is something that is greater than you. Sometimes, like, you worry less of things because you know something is taking care of it, so you kind of worry less. Yeah. Can you share a personal experience where you felt significant spiritual growth? What steps did you take to achieve it?
Yeah, so I would say the catalyst for this whole spiritual growth journey happened when I participated in a clinical trial that used psilocybin, which is the
Mm.
active component in magic mushrooms, to actually heal my depression. That experience really helped me rewrite some of the old stories that I was telling myself, some of
Yeah.
the repetitive thought loops that I had been trapped in for
Mm-hmm.
years. And the steps that it took me to reach that point of revelation and
Yeah.
transformation were setting intentions. As a
Mm-hmm.
part of the trial, you have to be able to understand what your baseline is, and you have to
Yeah.
start setting goals for what you want to happen on the other side of the trip.
Yes.
It involved a lot of time with myself. In addition to setting goals with a therapist, it involved a lot of time with myself, really seeing the areas where I could improve, and really doing the shadow work that's required in order
Yeah.
to have a productive trip. And then, of course, afterwards, because I know you said leading up to, but afterwards is so important
Mm-hmm. Yes.
after an experience like that. Integration and journaling and seeing how you can bring those parts of when you connect it with your higher consciousness into your
Yeah.
everyday life, so that you can truly be that all powerful being and start
Mm.
to believe it.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and believing is a very big part of it as well. Even if like most of us like acknowledge like there is a spiritual like something that is really very profound in our life and something that is really taking care of everything. It could be good, it could be like different cultures and beliefs. They have different beliefs around these, but still like when you really have that belief and you just entrust everything and be like, let me put everything in this because I know, like in life, we have got a lot of challenges, but when we really take this step and embrace that there is something, there is a being greater than us and is taking care of each and everything, we kind of come to a conclusion and also like worry less, you know, and achieve most of our goals because you're like, okay, I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to surrender everything. I'm going to do whatever I can do and I'm gonna do my best to achieve what I'm supposed to achieve. But at the end of it all, I'm surrendering. If there comes failures, I'm still gonna surrender and believe that there is something that is taking care of everything that I'm doing. And you've talked about a little bit about meditation, but I have a question for you. What role do practices such as meditation, mindfulness, or journaling play in fostering spiritual growth? And how can one integrate this into their routine?
Yeah, so they play a role in building awareness.
Yes.
So, awareness is one of those things that can make all the difference because when we're aware, we're able to
Yeah.
shift our perspective. When you were talking about how, there's this element of surrender that comes
Mm-hmm.
with letting go and releasing the how you're going to make it happen. And even if something happens that would be perceived as a failure, when you
Mm.
use these tools and you stay in your awareness, you're able to say, okay, I used to think that this was a failure, but you shift your perspective and you're like,
Yeah.
what can I learn from this instead? They help you step away from the past you that would just react to things
Yes.
and help you to cultivate space within
Yeah.
within you in order to react differently, in order to produce better outcomes. So they play a huge role in spiritual growth.
Yeah, that's true. And let me say, like, there is a saying that goes that, like, when you share your ideas, your views with somebody else, like, oh, your worries with someone, they not only they don't help you to kind of achieve or what you're trying to do to solve at that moment, but at least when you share something, it's kind of like you solve it halfway, like you solve the problem halfway. And this is the same, it comes also like in the same way as journaling. Like when you write down, you're not sharing it to somebody else, but you're writing it yourself. So when you write the problem down, you write your goals down, and then when you come back and read whatever you wrote, you always find some solution in that same process. And so I think it's also like the same when it comes to spiritual perspective and spiritual growth. Like when we write things down and we're like, God, Lord, I'm presenting this to you, or I want to achieve this. Like you kind of find out also like those solution and guidance throughout the process as well. So
Yeah.
how can overcoming challenges or setbacks contribute to spiritual development, and what strategies can help in navigating these obstacles?
Mm. So sorry, repeat the question because
Uh,
I wanted to make sure that I mentioned
yeah,
for the
yeah.
last question that it starts small. It starts with
Okay.
just 1 or 2 minutes a day. So I was caught up on that. Please repeat the question.
Okay. How can overcoming challenges or setbacks contribute to spiritual development, and what strategies can help in navigating these obstacles?
Yeah, so I found that Gene Keys has been really helpful as a tool in this.
Yeah.
Human design gives you like really practical guidelines for how
Mhm.
to navigate making more aligned decisions. But Gene Keys really takes a look at those shadow pieces of your life where you might have otherwise considered them to be failures, where you might have been living in a lower frequency, where you might have chosen rage or sadness or whatever as a reaction to a situation rather than seeing it as a growth opportunity. And
Yeah.
that tool has been really helpful in pinpointing exactly where you need to go in order to create change, because
Mhm.
in Gene Keys they talk about the different vibrational frequencies of each
Yeah.
gate and gift that's in your chart. And so there's the shadow, there's the gift, and then there's the city. And when you spend time in reflection and contemplation of the times that we otherwise would just keep going and keep falling into the same patterns and choice loops in the past,
Yeah.
it forces
Mhm.
you to break that loop by really taking a look at the patterns where this one particular shadow has showed up and contemplating like, oh, how could I have chosen the gift instead? Or in the future, if this happens again, how could I choose this gift or this higher frequency
Mhm.
instead? So it's really helpful in helping direct you to where you need to focus on when you are in those reflections of past failures or challenges.
Yeah, that's true. And when we overcome something, it gives us the motivation to continue as well. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have something else that you wanna any advice that you wanna give to the audience?
Yeah, the last thing that I want to say is it really starts with awareness.
Yes.
And what I always recommend is pulling your chart and understanding how you make your best, most aligned decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
really focusing on the intuition and the wisdom that comes from the body and getting out of the mind, because
Yeah.
it can really impact us negatively when the inner critic really starts to kick in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today and listening to this inspiring conversation with Diamond. She's a coach. She's a life coach, and you, if Grace really like resonated with you, you can always reach out, and she'll always be there available for you. She always talk to so many people around the world. And so we hope her insights on spiritual growth, mindfulness, and overcoming challenges have given you something to reflect on in your own life. Remember, spiritual growth is a continuous journey, and the practices you choose can have a profound impact on your personal development. So I want to encourage you all to stay focused, stay mindful, like open-minded, and keep on growing because it's a growth. Like keep on praying as well and growing into spiritual perspective, and also like looking into so many insights on how you can grow into your spiritual life. Until we see you next time, thank you so much for joining us.